What's going on, everyone? This is Nate the Great coming to you live from the All Sports All Plays Network. I am here today with Ray Cruz and William Morgan. How are the both of you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Nate?
How you doing, bro? Doing good, man. Doing good. Happy to be here.
I'm doing fine as well. Let's get right into it. We have a lot of matches to talk about from the AEW, from Monday Night Raw, and from Friday Night SmackDown. Some good storylines, some that we really don't like to as much. Let's get started real quick and start off with some Monday Night Raw. So the first match of the night, for Monday Night Raw was Nikki Cross versus Charlotte. I didn't really care too much about it. I mean, yes, Charlotte has been winning for the past 4 weeks, but we saw like 2 weeks in a row where it was she won because it was you had to beat her in like 20 seconds, and neither one of them two worked. And then the last match was a tag team match when Asuka was the one who pinned the winner. And then now this match, Nikki Cross won this match because of a 10-second countout. I mean, like, when is they really going to give her, like, a true victory? Ray.
Well, they're not. You gotta look at right now with can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you. Okay.
Yeah, with Nikki Cross, you gotta understand they're using her for like a in between, between her and Ripley and Charlotte Flair, trying to do one up and all that stuff, and Nikki Cross is just getting victories out of the whole deal. I think maybe Nikki Cross is, they're just waiting the right moment to pop her into another storyline, and this is just a bridge to get over. But you also got to understand too that, they got rid of a lot of people in the cuts and stuff, so they got to bring up some kind of matches and stuff until they get the roster worked out from all the firings and stuff like that. So it's just, I think this match was more of just a placeholder than anything else.
I don't think they know what they want to do with Nikki Cross yet. That's why you're seeing stuff like this. They have no clue what they want to do with her yet. They have no defined plan. Excuse me. They have her in a holding pattern. And but we're still winners because we still get to see her on TV perform. She's one of their better performers.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, that's good. And eventually down the road, she'll be in a more solid storyline.
Oh, yeah. Now I think, speaking of more solid storyline, we saw Naomi kind of get bruised up by, which is actually the next match. They say actually wasn't the next match. We'll talk about that next. But it was supposed to be Ava Marie versus Naomi, but it ends up actually being Piper Niven versus Naomi.
Look. I love Piper. I've seen her before she even hit the E. I love her. She can go for a big girl. She can move. She's better than Nia Jax as far as being in the ring. And she's still young, so she can even get better than what she is. And it makes sense to people to pair her up with Eva because Piper is not going to be everybody's cup of tea. So they put her kind of like in a high schoolish situation where they put the pretty girl with someone who looks like her to help Eva get over, because Eva's going to get a lot of heat. She's going to get a lot of heat once she gets into her program and into doing her thing. So I like Piper a lot. Leave Piper alone. I just hate the fact it was Naomi that had to go through that. That's the only thing I hate. Why Naomi? It could have been someone else who could have been in that spot.
I could see a rivalry, feuding up. I don't think this is going to be like a one-time match filler spot. I feel like there's actually going to be like rivalry going on between.
It could be. It could be, but I doubt it. I doubt it because she's right now. You could, even though Piper just made her debut, she's going to be higher up the ladder than Naomi, because Naomi right now is so beneath the ladder, beneath the rung, so to speak, that I don't think you're gonna see that as being a rivalry. I think you'll see Piper go another direction. Maybe NXT Women's Champion with her and Eva.
No, the plan for Eva Marie is just to be a manager. That's their plan right now, and I think putting her with Piper is a good move because he'll elevate Piper into that heel persona and get more heat on Eva Marie to where she can be her mouthpiece. Because Eva Marie could do some good promos, but her wrestling skills are not at par.
Trash.
And so they're using her as a mouthpiece, some sort of like what they did with Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman. They're going to see if that works out. But I think this Eva Marie is probably going to be a short stay if this doesn't work out for her right now. This is the only thing to get her back into the business and to be a manager. And that's what Eva Marie wanted to do anyway, to be a manager. And I think this could be a good sign for Eva Marie and Piper, getting her on the roster and having her be that monster. And Eva Marie is going to probably turn it into that monster for that female division. So, I mean, they need to add more wrestlers to the female division. Female division is getting stale. So, I mean, you know, the only person is really getting some good play is Alexa Bliss. So, I mean, and Charlotte Flair and Ripley, you know, Charlotte Flair is just, they keep pushing Charlotte Flair towards us for the world's title. I'm just, you know, I'm tired of seeing her. They need to get like a women's Intercontinental Champion or some kind of other women title. So, you know, they don't have to have Flair versus Ripley for the title, right, or Flair versus this, Flair versus that. You know, sometimes they overdo these matches and stuff like that. So, you know, I think this is just a good start for Eva Marie, and I think it could work out very well for both wrestlers. So,
and keep in mind too, if you go back and look at NXT UK, Piper does have a win over Rhea. So, yeah, like I said, keep that in mind. Piper can go. She's a big girl, but she can go, and I like what she brings to the table to the E.
Last question before we move on to this next match. Do you think they're going to use her as a different name?
Piper or Eva?
Piper.
I doubt it because she's known as Piper. I doubt it.
I only ask because the ending.
I got you.
Eva Marie.
Yeah, I got you. No, I think they'll keep it as Piper.
I don't know. Vince McMahon gets wired, you know, a wild hair up, you know, of his thing. So, you know, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, Vince McMahon can change anybody's name in the round. You know, you just gotta watch out. You just gotta watch out for some trademarks. They got some trademarks going around right now that I read about and stuff like that. So if you see a female trademark, you could see maybe that might fit her character. But I don't know what they want to know where the character is going to go right now. I think it's just in a fill process right now and see if Eva Marie can be the mouthpiece. If Eva Marie can turn out to be her mouthpiece, then you never know. She might turn out to be the female version of the one-man gang.
Could be.
Let's move on to this next match, which actually was one of those matches that was cut from Hulu. And I'm literally reading this match as we speak, and the video that they're showing for this match was not a video of yesterday's Monday Night Raw. This was a match, the same match in a steel cage that happened years ago. Jeff Hardy versus John Morrison. And then Jeff Hardy versus Cedric Alexander.
I was mad about that Morrison match. I was really mad. It was too... The match, there was no build with that match whatsoever. It ended too quick. I mean, you get two star athletes like that, well-known, two champions, and it should have been a better match than what it was. And it just ended too quickly for my taste.
Yeah. And then having him go up against Cedric Alexander, you know, and then having him win that match could have made up for that Morrison match, but you know, like I said, Morrison, sometimes his matches are good, sometimes they're not. It all depends on, I don't think, you know, Jeff Hardy's a good match with Morrison because Jeff Hardy's a different style than Morrison is.
He is.
And, you know, so you got to match athleticism with a good storyline, and just having him play this Johnny drip thing is not working either. I mean, you know, his normal character, his normal gimmick works just fine for him. He can make that normal gimmick, but if he just puts his Johnny drip in, it doesn't make anything.
Don't make no sense.
It's just a starship. It's just a plain old Gene, you know, of him and stuff like that. It's just gonna make him be stale towards us. I mean, you gotta understand, Raw and WWE is going through this transition of firing characters and stuff like that, trying to fire wrestlers and bringing them, you know, just like they brought Samoa Joe back to NXT, going to replace Regal or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But WWE really don't know what they want to do to wrestle. They just fire people because they were making more money. That's basically was a budget cut type deal. And, you know, I've been reading some articles about what Vince McMahon's got planned here. He said better the storyline is going to come towards the end of this year because because he wants to, what he said in the article was he wants to wait till WWE gets back on the end of fans and have the fans in the building to see what characters are reacting to what. You know, just like the Alexa Bliss stuff is gonna, you know, we're gonna talk about that. And I'll bring that up when we talk about that match. But you know, there's certain things that Vince McMahon wants to put out in front of the fans and see how they react. You got to understand, WWE has not been in front of a real fan base besides the television. That's true. You only get the reaction. You only get the reaction to what they put on the TV, what they can see, and you're not getting the real fan base action.
Yeah, outside of Mania.
And so that's going to come in July. When July, I think 16th is when they start back on the road.
Yep.
Yeah. I know SmackDown's supposed to be coming here. I know Raw's coming to Orlando. I'm going to try to go to both Raw and SmackDown when they come here in Jacksonville and Orlando. So, but I mean, it's just got to understand. You got to see what the crowd's going to react, what storyline is going to play out, how Vince wants to write. That's why he's going to wait later on at the end of the year because he's going to see what happens right after SummerSlam. You know, that's everything's leading up to this SummerSlam, you know, thing. They still got to put Roman Reigns in what he want. If they wanted him to go up against Mysterio after Hell in the Cell to keep that thing going, there's rumors that John Cena is supposed to be back and going to go up against Roman Reigns. They're in the project of flipping Roman Reigns around, party to a good guy, and bring John Cena back as a heel. Everybody wants to see John Cena as a heel, so I have that feeling that storyline is going to be coming back at the end of the year, and I think that's why he wants to wait to see what storylines are sticking with the fans, live fans, not the TV fans, but the live fans.
So let's go on to this next match at night, which was probably one of the better matches, I would say. Outside of the first, since the first three happened, the New Day versus RK Bro.
Poor Xavier Woods.
Yeah.
Poor Xavier Woods rolls right into an RKO, bro. Oh, Xavier Woods, man. He can't catch a break. Woo. Oh, he cannot catch a break.
I mean, if you read some of have you read some of Xavier's tweets that he puts out? He put this one out, I think, a couple of days ago before this match even happened. He said he loves taking the RKO. I don't know why. He said he loves taking RKO. He said it comes out of nowhere and makes him look, kind of weak a little bit, but he said he loves it because he's getting that flash plan, but he can take a nap while he's down there. So I mean, because you gotta understand, Xavier Woods is coming from doing his stuff and tweet and whatever that Twitch or something, that program that he's doing.
Twitch,
yeah. So he comes back, he goes back and forth and taping stuff, and he doesn't get no rest. So he lets him do the RKO on him so he can lay down and take a little nap because you got to act like you're sleeping or act like you're dead or something. So he puts it in a good character. So. Some of the tweets that he puts out, he's a character about it. He doesn't care about taking these bumps because he's paying homage to Randy Orton, And some of these wrestlers do kayfabe and stuff like that, but you don't really understand why they're doing it. but then the wrestlers got these, some of these wrestlers codes and stuff like that. So it's just paying homage back to Randy Orton because Randy Orton's got the top notch seniority over him and stuff like that. It's all about paying respects.
Oh yeah.
And I think Randy Orton is starting to come around with the bro. You can see their storylines a little bit clicking here. I don't know if it's going to be one of them storylines that run for a little while and then Randy Orton turns on them. And then,
that can happen too.
But Randy Orton said that he loved working with Riddle. Riddle he says he's a character. He travels with them, and he tells them be himself. In some of the promos they do, and it's just him being a character, and Randy Orton is just two peas in a pod. I mean, it's strange. The strangest thing makes a good tag team.
True, that's true. And it's good to see Riddle get some love too. Because he's like one of the few people from NXT that's actually being used correctly.
Well, he's got that mixed martial art background too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah. And seeing him coming from a mixed martial arts to this crazy bro dude, it's refreshing. I mean, you don't see some of them MMA fighters, they be all like stiff and stuff like that, want to be mean and stuff. Riddle's a character.
Up next was Asuka versus Rhea Ripley, and then that huge crowd came in. And then that huge brawl. Well, that huge, came after Rhea Ripley won the match. There was that huge thing going on with Charlotte Flair, and Rhea Ripley. So,
getting doggone well. Y'all know getting doggone well. Rhea just got that title. If they take that title off Rhea to give it to Charlotte, that'd be the most disrespectful thing I've ever seen. Don't do that, man. Don't do that girl like that. Don't do her like that, man. She just got it.
I mean, Charlotte's but what? She's 14 times women's world heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
They're trying to put her like like her father 16 times. I mean, come on, dude. You gotta be realistic. And you're ready to see Ric Flair's record be broke. Ric Flair says he wants to see the record broke before he dies. So I mean, out of the two, he would like to see. He's already came out and said he'd like to see John Cena break it. If John Cena does break it, you won't see John Cena hold the title long.
No.
It's just enough for him to break it and pay homage to Ric Flair.
Yep.
And then, you got Orton sitting right there too. So, I mean, you got two wrestlers sitting there, but he's physically came out and said John Cena's done so much for him and Randy Orton. And Randy Orton even came out and said that he wants to see John Cena break the record first. And then maybe possibly down the road, he'll break John Cena's record. So
give Randy Orton some love because I forgot what year it was, but that was one year where everyone was hurt and he held down Raw for a whole year.
Yeah,
you gotta give it up to Randy Orton, man. Got to.
All right, so up next after that, it was Alexa Bliss versus Nia Jax, and the winner was Alexa Bliss. Disqualification from Reggie.
Get out of here, man. Get it. Look, Alexa Bliss is what? 4'2", and you got this big, imposing wrestler Nia Jax, who should just be able to realistically break her in half. But yet and still, we see Alexa get a victory. What the heck is going on, man? Where have we lost realism in this? When have we lost that? I get storyline and all that, but come on, man. Stop it.
Hey, they're trying to make Alexa Bliss be like the next dead man walking. So
yeah.
I mean, I like the storyline. I like but sometimes you gotta make it realistic. She's not gonna do. She needed help. Reginald, came out and helped and stuff like that. But then you got her getting the doll in timeout and putting Reggie in timeout. That's a way to get rid of the doll.
Yeah,
basically that was getting rid of the doll. But I mean, Reginald's been everywhere. I mean, Reginald's been with Carmella.
Yep.
He's been with Sasha Banks.
Mm-hmm.
He's been with Nia Jax.
Yep.
Now he's with
Alexa Bliss.
Bliss. So where is this Reginald character gonna stick? Where's he gonna actually stick? I mean, he's been all over the place. Next thing I know, he might be out the door.
So budget cuts.
But he's not making none. I mean, he's not gonna hurt the budget anyway. I think they said he's making about, maybe 30, maybe $2,000 on, every 3 or 4 appearance, but he doesn't stay at that long. I mean, he gets his butt whooped and he's very athletic. I give him that. He's very athletic, but what's the storyline going to be? I mean, he came out to be Camilla's, whatever that, Lawange or something like that. But now he's with Alexa Bliss. What's he going to turn into? He's going to turn into one of them, one of those Joker things, like, back in Batman, having a little Joker running around, a little tutu and a hat. And,
remember that? Mm-hmm.
So what's next? What's next with the storyline? I mean, they got to do something, and how they going to bring Bray Wyatt back? I don't know. I mean, they wasted the Fiend character. Yeah, that character was good. They wasted him.
Heck yeah! You remember when Bray started? He had so much daggone promise, man, and then out the clear blue, bam, gone.
I mean, it tore up the Wyatt family. He had to go gimmick with the Wyatt family. They tore that up.
Yep.
Brought him back as the Fiend. That was excellent. I mean, I hate when they did Ben Baylor. I like the freaking the demon. I like his demon character too.
Yeah.
And they just took that and threw that to the waste and put him back on the NXT.
Sure did.
I think we're really gonna see that Nikki Cross. I think we're really gonna see that Nikki Cross, Alexa Bliss, and why am I blanking on her name? Sasha Banks. That trio that we've been talking about for weeks now. I think we're really gonna see it in Hell in a Cell.
I wouldn't be mad.
Now, to introduce that part in Hell in a Cell in that match, you got to bring a lot of smoke. You got to bring a lot of, kind of noise banging. Have Sasha inside the cage underneath the ring. Have, if you're going to use Reginald, they're going to have him somewhere hanging from the cage or something and do a lot of smoke screen for it. And then all of a sudden, have Nikki Cross come down and freaking a Lily mask or something. That'd be kind of awesome right there. And then next thing you know, you got all these people in there, and she got her entourage. That could be another way to bring the Fiend back too, and make him a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
There'd be like, so they attempted to do like a next version of the Undertaker. Now they're doing like the next 5.
I mean, it could. I mean, Vince McMahon does strange stuff. I mean, Vince McMahon is getting old. He's getting senile anyway. I mean, he's like 80. What? He's like 80 some years old.
83, 84. Yeah.
I mean, the dude looks awful anyway.
He does.
I mean, them steroids really affected now.
He was on the juice too long.
So up next is Elias versus Jackson Riker.
Okay, can we just skip this match, please?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Nobody wants to talk about him.
Yeah. And then up next, well, it really kind of was 2 matches. Drew McIntyre versus AJ Styles. And the winner was actually Drew McIntyre because of disqualification from Bobby Lashley. And then it eventually ended up being a tag team match. Drew McIntyre and the Viking Raiders versus AJ Styles, Omas, and Bobby Lashley. And the winner of that was Drew McIntyre versus the Viking Raiders.
I like the Viking Raiders. The Viking Raiders. I like them. I'm not so much of a Drew fan. Drew's aight, but the Viking Raiders, I really like them.
I will say this. I did like the Drew McIntyre Omas thing. That was kind of funny.
Oh yeah, I'm okay, yeah. I agree. That was kind of funny.
I mean, Omas's wrestling skills not even impressing me. I mean, he's big in everything else. You got the big wow factor, but he doesn't show me anything. He comes in there, does his little thing, and then AJ comes in and he wrestles most of the matches and stuff like that.
He's a level worse than
I would like to see
John Gonzalez.
I would like to see Randy Orton or KO Omas.
That ain't never gonna happen because Vince McMahon's so high on Omas is just like putting a title on him, and he ain't even stepping in the ring. His first time stepping in the ring, what he gets a title with AJ Styles.
Yep.
I mean, I think the Viking Raiders deserves a tag team title.
I love them.
I think they deserve to go for being a champion.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you can't hold these guys back too long because they're gonna start ramming around and then they're gonna start wanting to leave and because they're not getting utilized right. And see, that's one thing about Vince McMahon. He doesn't utilize his talent when he's got right then and there. He wants to put certain people over and just keep putting them over and just keep, dialing on us. I mean, at first he threw John Cena down our throat, but after a while, John Cena transformed his character to where the Thong Novice came in and hit right on the right time, right. and goes. And so, Vince like to throw. He's trying to throw Roman Reigns down our throats at the beginning, but now over time, Roman Reigns is becoming. But I don't like. You still got to get rid of that table gimmick.
The head of the table got to go, man. I ain't feeling it, man. I ain't feeling it.
I understand he's trying to get his niche. He's got his niche already. Right. I mean, he doesn't need this head of the table type gimmick. I understand they're trying to set it up for, The Rock to return because The Rock's supposedly returning SummerSlam to face Roman Reigns. And, the party end up helping John Cena out. You never know.
I agree with you. And I also think this whole gimmick hurts the Usos. Yeah. Because the Usos are a hell of a tag team and they should be in the conversations of tag team champions. And you can't do that with this gimmick. So it hurts them too.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now I do have one thing I would like to say. What are we expected to see next week? Is there going to be more to the storyline with Bobby Lashley and AJ Styles? I say that because of the ending.
Well, one of two things could people put it out. AJ Styles could turn good and face Bobby Lashley after Drew McIntyre loses because Drew McIntyre won't be able to fight Bobby Lashley if he does lose at Hell in a Cell because of the stipulation.
Yep.
So you never know. They could swerve AJ to swing good on a good side or put Bobby Lashley on a good side. But right now, I think his character is Bobby Lashley needs to stay a heel.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah, he's a beautiful.
I think AJ needs to go back to being AJ good, not the AJ bad, because I really thought AJ's being bad has been stale since his Impact days when he was with the Fortune. I mean, I love AJ Styles when he had his hair cut, running around, beating up people being a good guy and stuff like that. That's where his niche is. I understand he's trying to be the heel and stuff like that. He did it pretty good with the Bullet Club, but he don't have the Bullet Club with him no more.
Nope.
So, I mean, his heel, I know they try to put him almost to make him, legitimate of a heel.
Right.
But I think it's time for them to lose the title. I think it's time for Omos to go over to NXT to learn some wrestling skills. And I think it's time to put AJ Styles probably back in the world title picture against Bobby Lashley.
Let me ask you guys a question. Do you think AJ is the best wrestler in the world right now?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I have some opinions about that. AJ is a good wrestler, but Daniel Bryan is a better wrestler. Daniel Bryan's always been a better wrestler. WWE gave Daniel Bryan a shot, but then he gets hurt and stuff like that. But as of right now, because since he's not active, you have to give it to AJ right now because AJ is a hell of a wrestler. I mean, I watched him growing up. I watched him in the Georgia wrestling when he was in Atlanta when he started out. Then we went to Impact. I watched him there. I mean, I kept tabs on the independent circuit at wrestlers. Him and AJ are one of the two. Daniel Bryan and AJ is one of the two best wrestlers, pure wrestlers. And then you got to add in Finn Balor too. Finn Balor,
yeah.
He's been good too. I mean, I hated him putting him back in NXT. He said he wants to come back up to the main roster. It's time for him to bring him back up. I mean, they just wasted his characters. And I think him and the Demon interacting with each other again, I think it's time to bring the Demon back and Finn Balor.
And with all three of those guys, what's the one common denominator? They're all smaller dudes.
Well, good wrestlers are small. I mean, the big wrestlers will show you the powerhouse and stuff, but the smaller wrestlers are always going to be your best wrestlers because they got so many holes. They learned the submission and stuff like that because you got to make them look impressive against some of the big guys and putting some of these submission holds in. They're all three of them are one of the best at different submissions and different aspects.
Yep.
So, up next, actually, that was the last part of Raw. So let's move over to SmackDown. And SmackDown, I loved Friday's episode of SmackDown.
SmackDown's been so good.
Yeah. I mean, okay, outside of the Carmella, Liv Morgan storyline, which has been annoying.
Hey, don't be disrespecting Liv Morgan now. Come on now.
Okay, but I will say this.
I get you saying it for Carmella, but don't do that to Liv, man. Come on,
I didn't say that those two wrestlers have been annoying. I'm saying the storyline.
Okay. Don't do my girl Liv like that.
I will say this. Only because of a video I saw, I can see Liv Morgan go up against Bianca Belair after Hell in the Cell's over to go get the title shot.
I would like to see Liv get a little bit more season before you see that, though. I like to see her get a little bit more season. Maybe put her in a, I don't know, maybe put him in a feud or something like that. Let her get some more experience under her belt, and then go for the title.
So that being said, let's preview the matches. To start off, first off, you had this huge family drama. It wasn't really a match, but it was a family drama. I think that's probably the best part of the night. With Roman Reigns, Usos, Mysterios, about how last week ended, and about how this situation's going down. Honestly, it was the best part of the night.
Which one was that?
The family drama before we actually got into the first match.
Before we got to the first match, yeah. What else, man? What else?
I'm trying to get some words right now. Okay, so they're gonna make Jimmy. They're gonna make one of the Uso brothers be Jimmy Uso. To make it look like his brother. All right, we know they're twins. We got that. And go up against this Mysterio team and stuff like that. And then I don't understand. I still don't understand this gimmick of head of the table because. I mean, what are they head of the table for? I mean, we understand the Samoan history. You got the head of the tribal council and stuff like that, and they're trying to bring it onto the screen. But the problem with that is you don't have that many Samoan wrestlers,
right?
To go up against this thing to compete a competitive, brand. I mean, you got one of the Usos who don't want to be part of this. You got the other Uso who is a part of this. And then you're just messing up the Usos penitentiary because it's just driving them a wedge, what you don't want to see. Now, I can put a little spin to this here. How about Rikishi shows up at the end and puts two brothers together? How about Rikishi comes back and says, "Hey, why are y'all two fighting? Let us go." How about if The Rock comes back and puts Rikishi back to get his kids back and all of a sudden the Rock's got the family on his side, and then beats the out of Roman Reigns. Now that will be a good spin on that angle because you got all the Samoans, you got Rikishi coming back talking to his sons, put him up, and then have them all be with the Rock and have the Rock take out Roman Reigns, and then we just dropped the head of the table because Rock is involved,
Just end it all because it's stupid because you're not helping anybody with it. Roman doesn't need to be the head of any table to remain the champion. He doesn't need it. He doesn't need it. It's just dumb to me because I like the Usos a lot. I want to see the Usos be the champions. No disrespect to the Mysterios, but I think the Usos is just a much better team than them.
I mean, with the Mysterios, I understand what they're trying to do. They're making Rey stand out. You got to give him that quality. Some kind of, he's already got the quality in the world champion. Now they made him with his son as a tag team, be the first. But you got to, he's probably building up his Hall of Fame credentials with this run right now. And then I think Rey needs one more shot at the title and have him run with the title one more time. But I don't see him beating Roman Reigns, and I don't see him winning the title in the near future.
He never got his rematch against John Cena.
No,
that's just disrespectful.
Now, that could be in the play too, because if John Cena beats Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, he breaks the Ric Flair record. Yeah, he does. I think he breaks it on the next one, or he either ties it or breaks it, one of the two. And then have Mysterio battle him, and have Mysterio take the title away from John Cena.
Yep.
Get his rematch like he deserves it.
Mm-hmm.
And then John Cena runs back off to to the movies and stuff like that, and then have Rey run it for like a couple months, at least a 2 months run, and then then that way you can retool Roman Reigns' gimmick a little bit, either drop Paul Heyman because Brock Lesnar's supposed to be coming back, so he's gonna have to terrorate Paul because Brock Lesnar is no mouthpiece,
right? He's got to have a mouthpiece.
Unless he brings Sable back.
I want to say one thing. I should have said this when we were talking about Raw, but I think that to be honest, whether Bobby Lashley retains the belt or not, I think really his next feud would be with AJ Styles. Whether if it's over championship belt or not.
It could.
My only issue is we're having a feud when the belt's not up for grabs.
I mean, it won't be a good feud. They got to have the belt,
right?
And they got to have a belt involved in that feud because AJ is too good of a wrestler, too good of an act, too good of a superstar to be not feuding for a title. Yep. And I think you might see that coming into fruition at Hell in a Cell. When Bobby Lashley beats, McIntyre, but he still beats him down after the bell. AJ could come in, make the save, and start that. And that's how you kick that feud off, But, I mean, you understand, Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre is getting old now. They've been with three straight pay-per-views.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's time for another character to get in there. I mean, these runs for championships are getting so stale because you got the same people going over and over. That's what tunes out wrestling. That's what when we talk about wrestling, we talk about peaks and valleys. Right now, we're in a valley because every same people are going for title, and it turns off when new people start coming in or new kind of angles are starting. Then you're going to see the peak come back. So right now, we're in one of these valleys right now.
Yep.
So let's go into the first match of the night. To be honest, for this one, I think Sami Zayn should be just taken out of the storyline. Big E versus Kevin Owens, they won over Paul Cruz and Sami Zayn. And now Commander Aziz they're expected to do the same match except taking out Sami Zayn and you put in Commander Aziz. I mean,
yeah, it still doesn't do anything for me. this Commander Aziz is the guy that was in that freaking thing with Shane McMahon after Raw went off. The underground, the WWE underground. I mean, he wasn't that good in that either because he got beat.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, so I mean, they're just trying to find a way to put this guy over, and to me, it's not working. I mean, I don't believe in the character because he's with Apollo Crews, who I don't believe is Nigerian because he never had an accent until now. All of a sudden, he shows up with an accent. So that's just me.
All right. So up next after that was the match that was my least favorite of the night. Liv Morgan versus Carmella. I really don't like that storyline. I think Liv Morgan is going to go off and face Bianca Belair after Hell in a Cell for the championship. That's my prediction on it.
Nah, it's too much story. It's too much stuff rhetoric they have for Liv Morgan. I like her. I like her style. I like her being in the training with TJ and Natalia, and then also there's a film out on her taking bumps for Brody
Jr.
Jr. Where he actually beat her.
Yep.
And she's even came out and said that he beat her. And I have a feeling that pretty soon either Liv Morgan is going to stay here and thrive in the WWE, or Vince is going to say, "Okay, you're going to be the next Riot Squad gone," and then she ends up in AEW where she will turn out to be a real superstar there. So, it's up to Vince what he wants to do with her.
I just want to see her get a little bit more experience. That's all I want to see. Get a little bit more experience. Get your promo work together. Because once you get that belt around your waist, your expectations are different. Your expectations as a professional wrestler are even higher than what they are now. So I want to see her get a little bit better and work on her promo skills. And then if you want to have her go for a title or win the title, then that'd be a good time.
Maybe this feud with Carmella is the one that they're trying to judge if she's going to be worth, for a title.
Could be.
So up next is the Ding Dong Hello Show with
that was hilarious.
Yes,
that was funny. That was
hilarious.
Oh my gosh!
Just to give a little bit of idea what Seth Rollins is. I like him as I like his character. I like his style. I like what he does outside of the ring. I don't know if you've seen the circulation of video of Seth Rollins. He got thirsty. The only person he went and found some girl was doing lemonade out inside of her yard. He shows up, buys the lemonade, starts talking to everybody, and he gave the girl like I think $350 tip afterwards. So wow. I like it. I like his character outside the ring. I like the way his head's inside the ring, but I also like the way they were transforming Cesaro into this feud with Seth Rollins too.
So the next match was Chad Gable versus Montez Ford, and the winner was Montez Ford because Gable. Because Otis had Gable had a disqualification because of Otis.
Now, Otis has now gone from a hairy, bearded man to a freaking totally different person, totally different looking.
Mr. Clean, boy.
I like Otis. I liked Otis when he was the other character too. I like Otis now because he's a big guy. He's a big polarizing guy. He can be evil. He can be nice. So we've seen him in two different gimmicks, and he's right now. And I think this is probably the best gimmick for him right now.
Yep, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he did give you an excuse to see Mandy Rose.
Well, yeah, they're on two different shows too. So, and then his former partner is no longer in the WWE.
Yeah, he gone. Yeah.
Yeah, he was cut. next up was Shinsuke Nakamura versus King Corbin. The winner of this one was Shinsuke Nakamura, but next week we're going to see a Battle of the Crown. Is that going to be a title holder now?
Boy,
don't get me started on this.
yeah.
Because I'm already pissed as it is. They took a good character in Corbin and made him into a little punk.
Yep.
I mean,
He
he's
was
just
the
like
man.
he's just like a little punk.
He
You
was,
know,
he was the man in NXT, and now you're gonna do this crap to him.
they wasted him. I mean,
Wasted him.
they wasted him after he won the king, and then he made him king this, and then he put him at Raw's, whatever he was for whether he was like a GM or something.
Yep.
Didn't wrestle for a while, and then all of a sudden now he's wrestling again, and I think they need to make him back into his bad. I think what they need to do is they say, "Hey, Corbin, we're going to transform you back to your original character. We're going to send you down to the Performance Center. We want you to get back into that real character, and we're going to bring you back in a couple months."
Yep.
As that character.
Yep.
That's what they need to do to him.
He's
too big walking around with a king, with a crown. He's 6'7", 6'9". He's a beast. He's a tall person walking around with a crown,
looking dumb.
like a Burger King.
Looking dumb. Just looking dumb.
A king of what? Burgers?
Yeah, Burger King.
Burger King.
All right. All right. So up next was the challenge. Rey Mysterio challenges Roman Reigns in Hell of a Cell. I loved the challenge. I love that feud between Roman Reigns and both Mysterios. Actually,
He just picked up Dominic and just freaking.
He needs to go to the weight room. He needs to go to the weight room or something.
He just picked him like he wasn't nothing.
But see, Rey Mysterio, he can get away with going up against a taller, bigger person because we've seen it before.
Yep.
We've seen him with Brock Lesnar. We've seen him with the Big Show. Kevin Nash. We've seen him win against some of these big guys.
Mm-hmm.
So Rey Mysterio, you could pull him off going up against Roman Reigns and winning against Roman Reigns because we've seen it before.
Right.
We know he's got the ability to do that. But the question is, are Vince McMahon going to let him do that or not? That's going to be Vince McMahon's highly on Roman Reigns. Vince McMahon's new project right now is to get Roman Reigns as big as John Cena. So to do that, they're probably going to keep the belt on Roman Reigns and then, have The Rock or somebody like John Cena beat him to get the belt off of him. Because you don't want to tarnish what Roman Reigns has done as a character, but you just want to get rid of the head of the table. Roman Reigns don't need that gimmick. Roman Reigns could be the Roman Reigns as it could be. I mean, he's a top seller as it is, but I mean, for him being, put him in a storyline with the Samoan history without being any Samoans there and trying to tell me he's at my head of the table. He's not my head of the table because I'm not in the Samoan heritage.
Exactly. He was doing fine without this head of the table crap. He was doing just fine. I don't know why they even put him in there.
All right. So that is all of Friday Night SmackDown. We'll go through AEW real quick. To start off, Christian Cage versus Angelico, and the winner of this match was Cage defeated Angelico. So I'll give this to William first.
It is what it is. Got no problem with Christian Cage, but it is what it is. I'm not an AEW guy, so it is what it is. Maybe Ray might be an AEW guy, but I'm not an AEW guy for the most part.
Well, I mean, to me, it doesn't really. I mean, AEW's got good gimmicks. It's got good wrestling. It's a good wrestling show. It's a good setup. I mean, I have no problem with AEW because I like some of the wrestlers like John Moxley in it. I like Jericho. I like
I do like Cody.
Rhodes. Yeah, I do like
Cody.
I like Dustin.
I like Kenny
Rhodes.
too. I like Kenny too.
Yeah, Kenny Omega, he's getting on me, but I don't like all the belts on him.
Right.
That's the only thing I don't like about that wrestling.
Drop the Ultimo Dragon gimmick.
Yeah.
Just drop it.
So, but I mean, from the first match, it was all right. I mean, it really didn't satisfy me. Put it that way. I wanted to see more. That match did not satisfy me at all.
Here's my problem with AEW. Here's my problem. Now you got Big Show over there. Now you got Mark Henry over there. Everything needs to be a level up from what it was. You have two guys who are experienced, two former world champions, particularly the younger talent. They could really make a difference over there. And they need to start stepping up their game because their storylines to me aren't the best. And some of those big men aren't the best. So you need to start utilizing Mark Henry and Big Show and start getting better.
Yeah, I agree with that. You bring Big Show in, but Big Show right now, he doesn't want to wrestle. He wants to be an announce table. Mark Henry wants to wrestle, but they haven't found the right gimmick when to balance him in. I don't know if Andrade is going to be there because Andrade did interrupt Mark Henry when he was first, on the scene, interrupted his promo with "Excuse me," person. But anyway,
he didn't even mention a name. He didn't say person.
Vicky. I mean, come on. She's no Eddie Guerrero. Vicky Guerrero is not no Eddie Guerrero. That stupid little voice thing, she does. So that might be a standpoint if they keep him around. I heard Andrade did miss a couple of shows. So I don't know if he's going to stick around with AEW or he's just a free agent, just decided to show up at AEW.
Right.
They do have that ability. If he does come back, does stay in AEW, then you might see that might be the few Mark Henry might, bounce on.
So after that, speaking of Cody Rhodes, there was a special announcement in AEW where Cody Rhodes will team up with with Brock Anderson to face off Aaron Solo and QT Marshall next week. Now, give this to Ray since I gave it to William last time. Ray, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, Cody Rhodes need to be with Dustin Rhodes when they go up against the factory. I guess QT Marshall's got the factory now against the Nightmare. I don't think Cody Rhodes should be teaming with anybody else but Dustin Rhodes. And it's because that they're the ones that actually brought QT Marshall in. Dustin Rhodes is former QT Marshall's tag team partner. So to me, bringing another wrestler instead of bringing Dustin Rhodes in there, if you don't have Dustin Rhodes and Cody Rhodes together, it doesn't make no sense in that storyline.
So what about you, William?
It doesn't make any sense to me. Again, when you think of Cody, you think of Dusty. And when you think of Dusty, you think of both brothers together. And when you don't have both brothers together, it just lacks something. And I don't care what anyone says. It just isn't right. And that's why I understand what AEW is doing with their talent, because the fans want to see those boys together, not either against each other or as a team. And if you're not getting that, it doesn't make any sense to me.
So right after that, we had a trios match where Pac, Penta, and Kingston eventually defeated the Young Bucks and Cutler. Now, the grade that I'm reading for this, they gave us a B+. William, do you agree with that?
Yeah. I give it a B because I'm not a fan of the Young Bucks. I'm one of the few people that don't like the Young Bucks. I always thought the Young Bucks has been overrated for years. They're not the next Rock and Roll. They're not the next Midnight. No, they're not any of that. And people want to put them in that category, and I can't do it. I just can't do it, man.
They're not the next Hardy Boys either.
No, I can't put them in that realm. They're all right, but they're not anything that's world breaking like a lot of fans seem to think they are.
Nope.
Yeah. Okay.
You like the Young Bucks?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I'm just going off of what I'm reading. So after that, we had a Pinnacle that returned to Dynamite, who for the first time since the Stadium Stampede lost to the Inner Circle. FTR delivered a promo with Santana and Ortiz. Sean Spears cut Scott. Basically, what was your thoughts on the return? What's your thoughts on that storyline and what's going on there, Ray?
The Pinnacle. I mean, come on, man. They're trying to use even though they put a new term to them, the Pinnacle. They trying to make them look like the Four Horsemen. Arn Anderson came out, gave up the four fingers when they first started coming together with Tully Blanchard, but they didn't want to call it the Four Horsemen, so they wouldn't call it the Pinnacle. Come on, to me, the Jericho stable, the Inner Circle is the wrestling that we seen. The first fashion in AEW, and now they're bringing another fashion. They got a couple more fashions. But, I mean, to me, the Pinnacle is just a reboot of the Four Horsemen, and it failed. It just miserably failed. MGF is not going to be the Ric Flair of the group. Tully Blanchard is going to be, can't be the freaking manager, So, I mean, you got to understand that this is just a reboot group, and I didn't care for it. I mean, they can just go ahead and disband the Pinnacle. It's just there. I mean, it's not doing anything for me.
Some things you need to just leave alone, and the Four Horsemen was one of them, because that was such a force in professional wrestling, and there's any iteration of them, because there's several iterations of the Horsemen, but all of them were good. And some things you just need to leave alone, and that's something you need to let be, because you can't duplicate it.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you, the late Dusty Rhodes said it better. You don't want to reciprocate anything of the Horsemen, because what the unique about the Horsemen was they lived it. They lived the Horseman life. They didn't break character when the shows were over. They lived through the character. Ric Flair can tell you the best. When Ric Flair goes home, when he shuts his front door, that's when he breaks character. But when he's out in public, he's Ric Flair. He is the flamboyant Jed Ryan, and you can see it into him, because I can see it when I chased him down after a wrestling event in the Dorton Arena when I was young. They went to the IHOP. Of course, they said that were Dusty Rhodes and stuff like that, but they didn't break character. They were drinking. They were money. They had the girls around. So the Pinnacle cannot be them, because they don't duplicate what they do. They don't live the life. Even you can put old Horseman there, and Tully Blanchard, and it's still not gonna make him the Horseman. You can bring Arn Anderson, stick him out there, he still ain't gonna make the Horseman.
Yep.
Because they don't ride like the Horseman. They don't get a jet. They don't get a limousine. Ric Flair had all that. He had the finest clothes. He had the limousine. They partied 24 hours. They partied
watches.
Yeah, they partied 24 hours, 7 days a week.
Yep.
Sometimes they don't even go home after shows. Like some wrestlers, they'll take a break between like Tuesday and Wednesday. They have a break. They don't have a break. They going around. They're going to strip clubs. They live the Horseman's life. And Ric Flair, if you read what Ric Flair has said in papers and stuff, he said some of the stuff that he wished he could have took back to be more apparent to his kids. But he was living his life. He was living as a Horseman. And when you do these groups like this, like the Pinnacle, we already know it's going to be a reboot of the Horseman. It's just a different name.
Yep.
Um, so we already talked about the Pinnacle. So up next was a match between Miro versus Evil Uno, and that match Miro won.
Via submission. Miro is such a disappointment. He's such a disappointment in AEW. Oh, maybe when he gets landed back, that might change. But right now, he's such a disappointment to me. Yeah, you put the bet on him, but it's not the same. Not the same.
He's got to have Lana for his mouthpiece.
Yeah.
He doesn't cut good promos. Evil Ono made a mistake in the match. I don't know if y'all noticed the mistake. He ain't supposed to tap out. He's supposed to wait for Brody Lee to show up, and somehow he didn't because he came out and apologized for the mistake he made. He tapped out when he didn't supposed to be tapping out. Brody Lee supposed to came in and hit Merrill with a cane or something, and that part never happened because he tapped out too quick.
So after that, Kenny Omega sent a message out to Jungle Boy. So Ray, what did about that Kenny Omega message? What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, it's Kenny Omega. I mean, it's the way they doing his spot. I mean, they sending messages out to Jungle Boy. I mean, to me, I like Jungle Boy. I mean, he's a good wrestler. He's very energetic. I think he deserves a run for the title. I mean, he's been doing everything. He takes the punishment like he's supposed to. He takes the bumps like he's supposed to. And now it's time for him to get rewarded. So, I think Kenny Omega should have sent the message personally to him, not sending his little errand boy or
airborne to do it. Yeah.
I think it's time for Kenny Omega to face Jungle Boy and just making Jungle Boy look, not good in this angle. I think the Jungle Boy deserves better than what they're doing. And I don't like Don Callis either. So
feel you.
I'm frank about it. I'll tell you like it is. I mean, what's Don Callis got to do for me?
True.
He ain't. I mean, he left Impact. He don't have no say so in Impact no more. He gave up Impact to be Kenny Omega's manager, and he's horrible at it.
Yep.
Up next was Lance Archer versus Chandler Hopkins in this, and then let's just say it was a blowout, and Lance Archer won over Hopkins. William, since I gave Ray most of the leeway into this,
we gotta talk about this. Really, it was it was like a
match.
It was like the Alabama Crimson Tide going up against Georgia Southern. They're gonna win 58-0. I mean, it was just a blowout match. But again, I want to say this: that's another dude that needs to get better in Archer. And now you have two big men that can help him get there.
Archer was a WWE guy.
Yep.
I don't know.
You think he's having a hard time adjusting to the different style? He's been there for a minute, though.
No, it's just the bad writing of AEW putting him in. They made him a badass when he first came. Now they made him lose here and there, made him a little weak. Now they put him back strong. They need to figure out, AEW guys need to figure out what they want to do with him. They don't know what to do with him right now. Because Lance Archer, when he first came in with, Jake the Snake Roberts, he was when he went up against Cody Rhodes, he was that tough, guy. Now, over the past few months and years, you've seen him now being loose, not from that tough guy to a guy who's weak. To me, I think they need to put him back to that tough character and then have him start blowing up people left and right. And you got Jake the Snake who knows how to do that as his manager. I think it's time for them to step that gimmick back up to where he is going to be unbeatable, and then have him destroy Kenny Omega. Because I mean, he's going to be the one guy who can really destroy Kenny Omega, and everybody's going to believe, or him and John Moxley too.
Yeah,
I mean, Moxley. So
Moxley can do it.
yeah. So I mean, if you want a new person to be a champion, Lance Archer could be that champion because he's known for his toughness. But then they would make him look weak right now. You start bringing him back, bringing him back as a tough guy. And then we see in some squash matches with him, it really doesn't help you out when you're squashing somebody that really is an unknown person.
Right. The man is 6'8". I mean, he should have done what he did the other night.
I have one thing to say about this match, and one thing only. This was much like 1916 Cumberland versus Georgia Tech.
Oh boy!
Actually, this reminds me of the 1982 Carolina Duke game when Michael Jordan destroyed Duke.
And just so you know, the people that are out there watching this, Georgia Tech defeated Cumberland 222 to 0.
Yeah. That was no match. That wasn't even a game.
No.
Okay. So all right. So the next match was Nyla Rose versus Leela Hersic. And the winner of this match was Rose over Hersic. William, what are your thoughts on this match?
I like Nyla Rose. Can't stand Vicky Guerrero. Excuse me.
You can't stand me?
Oh man. Hers tried her best with Huda Karana in the match, but overall, man, Nyla Rose is just too much in the end. Just too much in the end. Can't stand Vicky Guerrero. Look, respect to the business, respect to your husband Eddie, but man, sometimes it just gets old. It just gets old, and she doesn't got old. Her gimmick is stale. I'm not saying she got to go, but you got to do something different with her, man. Come on.
Me, I like Nyla Rose. I like where she stands, but I don't like you said, the mouthpiece got to go.
Yeah.
I mean, she didn't. I mean, I understand WWE brought her in, for the respect of Eddie Guerrero. I understand that, but sometimes you can't live up to the name of Eddie Guerrero.
Right.
And she just needs to go back and stop and think about, hey, you're embarrassing your husband's legacy out here doing this excuse me stuff. I mean, that's getting really, really old.
Really old. How you gonna let one gimmick go? How you gonna let one gimmick start in another and transfer over to another organization? Come on.
I mean, when I first saw her in the crowd, I was like, "Oh, she's gonna do that." Excuse me.
Oh man. Oh, I hate that. I hate that crap.
So it was about fun. It was funny for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
All right. So to go on, this next one was Hangman Page versus Preston Vance. Hangman Page and Preston Vance versus Team Taz. The winner of this match was Page and Vance. It would be the Team Taz. So, Ray.
Well, I like Hangman. I like his little gimmick, his little drunk gimmick too, and stuff like that. But they're using him too many times in a tag team. I mean, it's time for him to go solo and time to him. That's another one I like to see him and Kenny Omega battle it out. You know, former tag team partners, former tag team champions, have them go battle it out with each other. I like to see that too. Heyman should be by himself, not as a tag team. I mean, he's too good of a wrestler to be with somebody else.
And actually, that was the last match of the night. So let's move on to this last part of the show, where each one of us had to come up with a wrestler that's not current. That's not current, but but did it help build up wrestling to where it's at right now? I'll start off with William, and then I'll go up to me.
My character, my wrestler that I picked is one of my favorites. Growing up, Wahoo McDaniel. He did a lot for the sport. He did a lot for the business. If you go back and look at everything he's done, he's won everywhere he's been, from American Championship Wrestling all the way down to the Ultimate Championship Wrestling organization. He's done a whole heck of a lot for the business. Had a lot of good feuds. One of the most respected persons of all time in the business. I love Wahoo McDaniel. I loved it, and then he comes from a football background as well. He was just amazing to me, and a lot of people didn't even get his height right because he was listed at 5'11", but he was 6'1". But regardless, Wahoo was amazing to me. He did his character well, sold everything like guys back then do versus guys who wrestle now. Didn't have any personal prejudice against guys in terms of being in the ring. Just got it done, man. And I loved Wahoo. I love him, man. Him and Tommy Wi-Fi Rich. Oh yeah, that hits it right there, man. That hits it.
So or go with Rey next.
Well, how about this guy named Sylvester Ritter, known as the Junkyard Dog?
Yes.
Westview Memorial Park, Roswell, North Carolina. And the only reason I really like Junkyard Dog, he's a former North Carolinian, but also my PE teacher, my middle school basketball coach, knew him personally, and we got to meet Junkyard Dog.
Okay.
He brought him to Henderson Middle School, and at the time I was managing the basketball team. I was the manager. We got to meet Junkyard Dog. He sat us down and he talked about how his career went from being, a drug user all the way up to being the Junkyard Dog. He done everything, being with Hulk Hogan in the WWE, WWF at the time. He was in WWE, inducted in the Hall of Fame in 2004. He was they call him the music of the Queens. Another one bites the dust. That was his entrance music. He always lit up the crowd when he came in. He wore that chain. His meaning. I mean, some of the stuff that he should have done, they should have put the world's title on him, but he really never had a chance to do that. He died in 1998, but he was always my one-time favorite person because he meant a lot to us. He meant a lot to the people that he touched in the ring. He was never one of these guys complaining about his gimmick. He knew what he was placed in the ring with. He knew who he was with. He knew what team he was part of. He knew all his lines. He knew the cadence of the match. He never complained about once that he never got to call a match. Somebody else was calling the match. He never complained about it. He went with it. It was just a ultimate. And the one match I remember is the one-man gang match with him when the one-man gang brought his chain to the thing and they were going to battle out with the chain. And Junkyard Dog took the chain and put him around his neck. And both of them ran their neck and started barking like a dog on the ring and chasing the one-man gang around. And it was funny. And then at one time he brought the dog. He actually brought a pit bull with him to a ring. And all the wrestlers, were terrified. Come to find out the pit bull dog was real pit bull dog, but it was a trained pit bull dog that would never bite anybody and stuff like that. So he was my, you know, he got in there, he danced, he played around, he act crazy, but he was also a former, professional college football player, and he was a professional wrestler, and he was the ultimate professional person. If you ever met him, he lit up a room, regardless if he's still wrestling or when he's not wrestling. He always made sure you felt comfortable around him, and that's one thing I liked about the Junkyard Dog. And I think he led with Hulk Hogan and all them, led it to that wrestling business, what it was today and what it is now.
And keep in mind too, before he got to the WWF, he was a badass before that, because he was winning championships before he got there. And he's one of the few people, when you think about it, he really didn't need a title because he was so over with the fans. Just like Roddy Piper, he really didn't need a title because he was so over with the fans. And that's amazing for guys like that to make their mark without being the head of the company.
Yep.
For mine, for those that have been following sports status for a while, know that I would love to study sports history, especially talking a lot about the football teams that have been folded and stuff like that. So for this one, I'm going way back. I'm going.
Oh yeah, I think yeah.
Yeah, I'm going way back. He unfortunately passed away in 1917 when he was only 40 years old. I'm going for Frank Gotch. Doing a little bit of research on him, he was born April 27th and 28th in 1878 in Iowa. Died in December 16th of 1917. He's a professional freestyle. He won the championship in 1905 against Tom Jenkins, but lost in 1906 to Bill. Then recaptured it again, and then retired. He retired in 1913. Won out of 160 recorded matches, he's won 154 of them. I mean, that's impressive.
Yeah.
So, that's all I have to say on my guy.
And one thing about him too was he went to the White House. He was invited by Theodore Roosevelt and wrestled a Japanese jiu-jitsu expert in the East Hall, making his opponent submit the night before his second match with Hackenschmidt. He attended the Chicago Cubs baseball game at Wrigley Field with his wife and in-laws and took his seat down front after the game. Nearly every member of the Cubs team came to his private box and asked for his autograph.
And for a wrestler to be held in that esteem is something to speak very highly of too.
Yeah.
Very highly of.
So that's all I have. Anything else that we have that you have to say before we give this close?
Well, for me, WWE, AEW, and all that will now be returning to the road on July. Get your tickets, get out there, make your voice hear. What angles you want to see, what angles you don't want to see. Make your presence of voice, but do it respectfully.
And not like Vicky Guerrero's.
Yeah, don't go around and say excuse me every 5 seconds. When you do go to a ring, make sure you wear your proper WWE, AEW. Don't mix it up and wear your AEW to WWE events because you're going to get kicked out regardless of what you're at them. Make sure your signs are appropriate. Don't put no smear of AEW because your signs will be taken down. Be respectful. Don't throw cups into the ring if you don't like what happened, like they did when Hulk Hogan turned bad at Bash, Beach Bash, whatever you want to call it in WCW. Just make yourself heard. To me, I always get on the wrestlers. I always get on the manager. I got spit by Paul Jones before. But if you do to the wrestler, be prepared because they're going to recover right back at you.
Oh yeah.
So,
I mean, it's never happened to me. It's never happened to me. I've only, my lifetime I've been to one wrestling match. But I've seen videos of, of occurrences when it happened, when those things happen.
me and John Cena got in a verbal battle one year here when he came here. I wasn't doing nothing. I was just sitting there mocking him, and he's like, "Oh, you mocking me? I'll come on." After the show was over, he came straight down and started trying to mock me. But it was just a good faith thing. But I had Sting do a splash onto the thing, and I was standing behind it, and I got the whole barricade that came and crushed right on top of me because Sting hit the guy too hard and broke the barrier at the George Mason up in Fairfax, Virginia, in the George Mason Auditorium when they did WCW. He did a splash on, I think it was Booker T. And Booker T, you know how big Booker T is. He came pulling full speed and hit that barricade, and the barricade took tumbling down. But it was a great time. I mean, all these wrestling events I've been to, I seen Ronda Rousey when here in Jacksonville when she made her debut in WWE. I seen Jimmy Valiant, seen Wahoo McDaniel, seen the Rock and Roll Express, Nikita Koloff, Magnum TA, Dusty Rhodes, you can name it. I seen Blackjack Mulligan. Those the time Kerry Von Erich, Kevin, Fritz Von Erich. So, go out there and have a good time.
I just want to say real quick to WWE, that NXT show over the weekend was terrible, and you really need to get better. All those matches, with the exception of maybe one, was terrible. To call Eli Drake LA Knight is the dumbest name I've ever heard. It sounds like a washed up Marvel superhero. And you need to get better with what you're doing because that show was terrible. And in excess, we are paying because you're either paying the $4.99 or the $9.99. And for any amount of money at all that we spend on your product, it has to be your best, not your worst. So get it together. Normally, NXT has the better pay-per-views or the better events. This one was terrible. Get your act together, and let's get a better show next time.
All right. That's all I have to say. So it's been Nate the Great, Ray Cruz, and William Morgan signing out. See you next week.